Hello and welcome to the Peak Endurance Podcast. I'm your co-host, Ron Tate.
No, you can be the host.
And with me, thank you. And with me is
the real host.
The real host.
The first host.
Isabel.
The host with the most.
The hostess with the most S.
Yes.
In the words of Steve Vizard.
Is that where it was from?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh God, there's a name blast from the past. Oh yeah, sorry.
Sorry, Isabel Tate.
Yes, Isabel Tate. That's me.
Welcome to podcast number
206.
206.
Holy moly, cacacoli. As my daughter used to say when she was about 4. Yes, here we are again for your listening pleasure.
Yeah.
And maybe you're on a run, maybe you're doing a workout at the gym, although I was just telling a client today, when you're at the gym doing strength work, don't listen to podcasts or music. Really, you should be focusing on the muscle group that you're working so that you can really activate those muscles. Sorry, that's just an aside. Right. So you might be listening on a run, but once again, not in speed work because you want to focus on speed work, just an easy run.
Yeah, I tend to listen to
podcasts and speed work.
Yeah, podcasts and speed work. Yeah.
I can't concentrate on a podcast and speed work.
Yeah, no. I'm not a music listener when I'm running because I find that the beat.
What about speed work?
No, even then, because I find that the beat of the song affects my rhythm while I'm running.
Okay.
I start to, run to the beat of the music rather than, to.
I start singing, running, which affects my breathing.
But I love to listen to podcasts and books while I'm running.
I don't know. I can't concentrate.
Yeah.
I know some people who can listen to podcasts even when they're racing, and I'm like, nah.
Yeah.
No.
I was
not back in the old days when I used to race.
Yeah. I was listening to a podcast tonight. It was an interview of Ben Elton, who wrote The Young Ones sitcom.
So
that was
what podcast was that on?
It was Rob Brydon's podcast. He's an English comedian, and he likes to interview his English comedian mates.
Yes. Now tell the story about what happened on your run today, because that's a funny one.
Yeah. So I was running home from the gym, and I was running down the road, and there was a guy I was running up towards. He was walking in the same direction that I was running, but he kept stopping and looking over his shoulder at me, and I was kind of thinking, I'm not sure what this guy's.
We live in a bit of a dodgy area, in case.
Yeah,
really.
This was in Bayswater.
Dodgy. We don't live in Bayswater, but yeah, dodgy.
But yeah, he kept on looking over his shoulder, and he looked a little bit rough, and he was probably in his mid to late 20s, I'm guessing. And it was starting to get dark, so I wasn't really, I couldn't see him that well. But as I drew up next to him, he started running beside me, and he was in, track pants and an old jumper, and I think he was wearing boots of some kind. He's running along beside me, and he goes,
didn't he ask you?
And he goes, where are you running to? I said, I'm running home. And he goes, how far are you running tonight? And I said, about 10 Ks. He goes, bloody hell.
But he asked if he could run with you.
And then he goes, and then he goes, do you mind if I run with you for a bit? I was like, well, okay, I guess, be my guest. So he started running along beside me, asking me questions about running, and telling me how he never really, he did athletics when he was young, but never really got into cross country. And we ran along like that for about 200 meters, and then he patted me on the back and said, thanks for letting me run with you. And then he stopped and started walking again. Okay.
I don't know, just stories like that restore my faith in humanity. That's a good story.
Just wanted to chat, that's all. And he was prepared to do some running to have it.
Well, because he thought you were weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was my little entertaining moment on my run tonight.
Nice one. Well, I think that's a good story, and that funny little stories like that. That's the thing with running, is because you do meet people that might be a little bit more interesting or left of centre, nothing wrong with that. And certainly for me, I get to know all the regulars on the bike path, and I just say hello to them every morning, and that sort of stuff, and different regulars for different hours, on the days when I work at school, I have to get up earlier. There's different regulars compared to when I'm working from home. So quite interesting.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't see too many regulars because I don't really run the same place.
Yeah.
I kind of head off in a different
Well,
direction.
it's
every
probably
other day,
more
so.
when I do my
So
quality
when
sessions.
you're doing your workouts, you do it on the
I just
bike
do it on
path.
the
So
same spot because it's just easier because no cars and, I know where the crossings are and, that sort of stuff.
and then you have to apologize to your friends next time you see them because you couldn't stop the chat because you're in the middle of a.
Yes, we saw Lara when we were up live, and I apologized to her because I ran past her when I was doing my intervals. And because we were up, we went up Lyrebird and we were doing some repeats there in the Dandenongs, if you don't know what the heck we're talking about.
Yes.
And we met a nice person called Craig.
Yep.
And he listens to the podcast. He was on a bike, on his gravel bike. It was a very nice looking gravel bike. I was a bit jealous.
Yes, you were. Yeah.
Was it that obvious?
Yes, it was.
And so shout out to Craig.
Yeah, he stopped.
Thank you for listening.
As we went past, he stopped us and said,
he listens to
love,
the pod?
love listening to the pod.
Yeah.
He said he was a past runner of 2 bays.
Yeah. Well, 28K.
Yeah,
I don't know. Did he do the race or just as a training run?
No. He said he did the 28.
Yeah,
the race. So he does a little bit of everything by the sounds of it. He said he enjoyed the trail running, but he also gets on the bike a lot as well.
Yeah.
So
that's good. Well, it's peak endurance. It's not just peak running.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely.
Lots of endurance sports out there. I certainly did my fair share of mountain biking back in the day. So.
Yeah, and when your race schedule isn't as hectic as it is at the moment, we also like to get out and do a bit of riding and cross.
And the weather's not so shit.
Yeah.
We like to get out on the bike. I mean, it's a bit too cold for this fair weather rider.
Right. Our cross training this week consisted of going roller skating.
Yes, we did go roller skating.
Yeah. Old school too, not rollerblades.
Not rollerblades. We got the old, and I think they were legit ones from the 80s.
They were.
Especially your pair. Your toes were just about hanging out the front. They were so worn out. I actually find mine very comfortable, and it really brought back to me the last time I roller skated was, in primary school, I think grade 6, kind of like a breakup thing.
Yeah.
At the Nunawading Skate Ranch. And fun times back in the day, and it was a little bit sad, really. This one, I don't know. The whole it's kind of
it was a little bit. It was only maybe 7 of us on the rink.
Yeah, because it's on at Lilydale Skate Centre. 5:30 on a Sunday night is adult skating.
Yes.
No kiddies allowed. We evacuated quickly when a few kids
started
rolled up
and started screaming. And
that's our sign. And we had dinner booked.
That was the big decider. We were getting very hungry, and
of course we were so hungry. We went to the restaurant. We ordered everything, and then we couldn't eat it.
I couldn't.
I couldn't finish my burger.
I only had like 2 or 3 bites to go on my burger, and I literally just couldn't finish it. I could not.
I gave you pretty much all my fries, and you managed that.
I had to eat the fries.
They were good fries. We went to I keep wanting to say Flavorful Flavor Gallery. And the funny thing is, we had never seen this. It's close by. Never seen this restaurant before, but I saw something in a Facebook brand new group chat. Someone suggested it, so I looked it up and we went. And that's what Facebook and those sorts of social media things are good for, is sometimes finding and seeing things a bit different.
That's right. I mean, I personally run past the end of that street on a semi-regular basis. Never run up that street and never noticed that there was a restaurant there.
No. I mean, I've seen like the takeaway shop on the corner, but I thought that's kind of all there was there. Nice little, and I'd been saying for ages, I wish there was an Italian restaurant in the area. And what do you know, there was. We just didn't know. And it was, oh my God, such good food.
I mean, it was wood-fired pizza and that sort of thing. We obviously went with the burgers. We didn't. We went the good Italian burger. Yeah,
the original plan for me was pasta, but then I saw the burgers.
As soon as we saw the burgers, we're like, oh no, I think that's
they're good. They're good. All right, so let's get to what the podcast is about. And it was the 10. I saw a post on Instagram, 10 runner commandments. Okay, so not the 10 commandments of running, but commandments for runners, so to speak. All right, and we'll see how we go with getting through all 10. We might have to do this as a 2-parter because we don't have all night. It is nearly 6 o'clock, and we are not cooking mashed potato tonight.
No.
We're making a stir fry with rice that's already cooked, because I always cook up a big time-saving notes here, people. Cook up a big batch of rice, and then I put it into containers enough for dinner and freeze them. So then I just pull it out, bang, pass, rice cooked.
Yep.
So yeah, we're going to do that, but and that'll take 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But in saying that, we want to be able to sit on the TV, sit on the
TV and watch the couch.
Yes, I love doing that. We're in the middle of a good series called Treadstone.
Treadstone, yeah.
Prime.
Yeah, it's
it's a little bit. I had really violent dreams last night.
And because
really
Isabel likes to multitask sometimes. She forgets to pay attention, and then she'll look up and go, "Wait, what's going on here?"
Well, when I'm multitasking, I'm working, to be honest. I'm working. So, yes, sometimes. But that's only been recently because I've been so busy.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. So, now we'll take turns reading them, and you have to put on a really religious voice.
Oh, okay. Right.
Shall I go first?
Yes, you do.
Number 1, thou shalt not compare thyself to other runners. A mile is a mile. Clearly, it's American.
Yeah.
A kilometer is a kilometer. So, basically, and a lot of these are kind of to do with that kind of theme. Is just because I run a mile or I don't know mile pace, kilometer at this pace, and I do compare us, really, don't I? Because you're faster than me, and then I get bothered going, you don't want to run with me, I'm slower, so why don't you go off and do your own run? And you're like, but that's not why I'm running with you. And it's harder for me because I compare myself to when I used to be faster, and I find it really frustrating. But but basically what they're saying is don't compare yourself to runners. I run a kilometer, you run a kilometer, we've both run a kilometer. Yep. It doesn't matter about the pace.
When we go out on a long run, like this weekend or last weekend, for instance,
which was worse than the Saturday before, if that is
really
run possible.
40 kilometers.
Yes, I just ran it with a lot more complaining.
We did a very
my God, we let
Strava
run. Choose the course.
Yeah, and it was a solid road run.
Big mistake. And not just road run, but busy roads.
Busy roads, concrete footpaths.
Lots of McDonald's though.
Trucks, storming past a meter from it.
Fumes.
So it wasn't the most enjoyable.
No, that did not help get me in the zone. No. Or get into flow or any of those nice things.
So yeah, if you're going to do a 40K road run, you need to be committed to it. Or committed in general. Yeah. So it was tough. But but we both did 40 kilometers. It hurt in different ways.
It hurt me mentally mostly, I think.
Yeah. I was feeling better because I had had the week off running because of my infection in my leg. So this was my first run back. So I was actually feeling fairly
and nothing like getting back into running with a 40K run.
40K, footpath run.
We did contemplate him, not doing the whole thing and that, and then you just went, nah.
Yeah, it was like I said.
At the end of the day, there was always the Uber option, which I almost took up myself. But really, you have no idea how much I wanted to call an Uber.
The U word was said at about the 18K mark.
Yes. I was just like, I don't care how much it costs. Just, God, make this end. But I sucked it up. And and that's why I put out that reel about grit, because that took a lot of grit for me to finish that run, because I was not enjoying pretty much any of it.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even have scenery to enjoy.
No,
anyway.
But then another point with that, comparing yourself to other runners. Everyone's different as far as what they can do.
And we talked about this, didn't we?
Yeah, I've been running for, I don't know, 15 odd years. I am not the sort of person that can run more than 100, 110 Ks a week consistently. You hear stories about people doing 100 miles a week. There's even some freaks that do like 200 a week. I'm
fine with like 130 kilometers a week. Not that I'm doing that at the moment. But
I find that anything more than that, and everything just becomes sore and miserable. I generally need a rest day also. And so I will run generally 6 days a week. Not everyone needs that. Not everyone can do 6 days a week. Some people need two rest days. So you should never compare.
Whereas I really don't need don't like
you
I
don't
don't
really-
like to have a rest day because my body just feels shit when I have a rest day.
Yeah. Whereas on the opposite, if I don't have a rest day, my body feels shit.
Mm.
So
And
everyone's
the other thing we also spoke about was, we're in our 50s now, and to compare ourselves to 35, especially 35-year-old yourself or any other 35-year-old,
that's right,
is really not fair, because there is no way we can compare ourselves to 35-year-old athletes.
That's right. Yeah, that was another discussion we had at the 80K mark. 18K.
It felt like 80K. It felt like 180K.
Was that, at some point, we need to lower our expectations of ourselves.
He was mainly talking to me.
We're not 35 anymore. We are in our 50s. So, if you want to compare yourself to anyone, compare yourself to someone who is 50 or in their 50s, not to people who are in their 35s.
Well, I'm not specifically comparing myself to anyone of any age, but yes, I guess. Oh, Ron just scratched his hand and now he's bleeding. Like, seriously, you're in primary school?
Yeah.
I guess you just see all these people and you just think, I don't know. It's just, I think I compare myself to my 35-year-old self, and that's just
that is the thing that you do the most, is compare yourself to what you were like when you first started running.
Well, and I was running fast for the first 10 years. Yeah. Then it just took its toll.
That's right. Yeah. And that's why you can't compare yourself to that person.
But yes. All right. Number two.
Plus you're, when you first started running, you weren't training and doing 200-kilometer races.
No, that's right. Exactly. So, yes. Training for a marathon is going to be ever so different than when I'm doing 1,200-kilometer races in a year.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on to number 2. Thou shalt never say, I am not a runner. If you run, you are a runner.
See,
I'm of two minds with this one. I don't think you need to label yourself as anything. I'm a runner. I'm a jogger. Sometimes I'm a hiker. I don't call myself anything. I'm a worker.
I know when I first started running, I had to repeat to myself, I am a runner. To be able to get, while I was running, to make myself believe that I could run.
Yeah.
That was one of the things. I'm just getting on a Band-Aid from my bag. Oh no. No, just one. I've got tissues too.
Of course you have. You've probably got one stuffed up your sleeve.
No, actually, I don't. Well, now you're going to waste a whole tissue. I used to have to say to myself, I am a runner. I am a runner, because it just felt so foreign for me, I guess, coming from cycling, maybe. I don't know, but I mean, I don't understand. Do you have an issue with saying I'm a runner?
No, I just don't feel the need to say that I am a runner, or
it's just some people go, I'm not really a runner.
I know.
That's what people say.
I know.
I've never heard anyone specifically saying that. Really, anyone like. I think people, it's related to, I should not compare myself to other runners.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. A lot of these are similar, because when people say I'm not a runner, it's when they're comparing themselves to people that they think are real runners.
Yeah.
They're meaning, like, by comparison, I'm not a runner. And ultimately, if you run, you run.
Yeah.
You're a runner, is what they're saying. Like, and it doesn't matter if you take walk breaks on your run, you're still a runner.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. I mean, the classic example is trail and ultra runners. We all walk at some point, if it's up a hill or from sheer exhaustion, but we go, oh yeah, I ran 100 Ks.
Yeah.
Walked, but no,
right.
we say ran, and that's perfectly legitimate.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a bit similar to the first one. All right, number 3 of the 10 commandments for runners is thou shalt, and he's written shalt. It should be shalt. They haven't done it right. And I'm saying he, could be a she, but I'm guessing because it's wrong, it's a he.
Yeah.
Thou shalt not skimp on sleep. This is very, very important. Yeah. And check out my blog. I just put, a new blog out about why sleep is so important for athletes, which we all are. It is so important. It's when human growth hormone is released, so that helps us to, repair from the running that we've done. It helps with your ghrelin levels, which is hunger and that sort of stuff, so that then you don't end up eating too much during the next day. It just helps. with so many things, you know, it allows the mind the chance to reorganize all the information, everything that's happened during the day, like me having those god-awful violent nightmares last night after watching. I mean, I normally love violent shows, but there's something about this one that's particularly stressful. I've always been into, you know, Tarantino movies and all that sort of stuff, but there's something about this one.
We were watching it last night and we had to stop.
Because I was getting too stressed. I was getting a sore jaw. I'm like, I can't watch more than 2 episodes. I get too stressed. And it's not so much the violence, but the psychological manipulation that goes on in it. I think that's what bothers me.
Yeah, because there is a lot of that.
Yeah, and that's what I find hard to deal with. But sleep is so important.
Yes, it is something that you and I
are obsessed with.
We love our sleep.
Yeah.
We do get generally 8 hours a
well, in bed 8 hours a night.
Yeah.
You know what it's like. It always takes you 20 minutes to half an hour to fall asleep.
Yeah, but we are generally, we have, you know, our bedtime reminders on our phone, which more often than not we follow.
Yeah, I mean, it goes off and like if an episode finishes at like 8:15, we go, no, we're not going to put another episode on because we won't have time to watch the whole thing. So
yeah, we are very fastidious with our sleep.
Yeah.
On the weekends, we tend to, you know, try and get a bit of a sleep in because we do. My alarm goes off at, you know, 5:10 every morning.
Yay.
When Isabel's working and wants to do a run in the morning, her alarm will go off even earlier.
But 10 to 5.
Yeah, 10 to 5. Yeah. It's still got a 4 in front of it, which is a big deal.
Yeah, true. Mind you, back in the day when I was going to say when I was a mum, I'm still a mum. When I had kids at home and I was working full time, I used to get up at 3:30. Something
that's just wrong on
I know, it is so wrong. If that's not morning, that's freaking night.
Yeah.
But the things you do so that I could get home and make porridge for the kiddies that they tell me no, that they hated. But yes, sleep. Do you know when I really noticed that sleep was so important to me? When we went into all those lockdowns, and I didn't have a lot else to do other than sleep. And I noticed how much bloody better I felt than all those years of being. So I used to be in class at school, reading a book to the children, falling asleep whilst reading out loud.
Yeah.
My eyes would be shutting and my head would be getting nod and I'm speaking out loud to them. Like that's how tired I used to be.
Yeah.
Oh God, that's how you fit in 130 kilometers.
Yeah, that's right.
A week.
Yeah. No, sleep is very important.
Sleep is so important, and it just puts you in a better mood generally. Like it's so important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if we could sleep even longer, like if it wasn't completely unsociable to go to bed at 7, I probably would.
Yeah, that's right.
So, yeah. All right, so your turn.
All right, so number 4, remember the rest day and keep it holy.
All right, see, no.
Once again, we just spoke about that.
I mean, I agree. Like, I may not have a full rest day. Like last week, I had a rest day from running and I did yoga in the morning before school and I went for a walk with Nikki for an hour after school. So that was my rest day.
Yeah.
Yesterday was my other rest day for this week and I just did a 10K run. I went really slow and just shuffled around and that's all I did. I didn't do yoga or walk or anything, right?
Yeah.
So I like to still move. I find I feel worse if I don't do some form of movement.
Yeah.
And so for me, a rest day is when I only run. Like today, quality, and then I did drills and plyo after that. Then we did weights this afternoon.
Yeah.
So that's a standard day.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm kind of the opposite. When I have a rest day, I have a rest day. I don't really do much of anything.
And you don't need too much encouragement to have another rest day.
No. Normally Isabel will plant the seed and and
if I want us to do something that afternoon, because he runs in the afternoon.
Because I run after work. If Isabel's wants to maybe do something different, all she has to do is plant that little seed and it grows very quickly.
It doesn't happen very often.
No, it doesn't. No.
We don't really do much.
No, it might happen once every couple of months.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, but no, I'm generally we'll have one rest day a week. Sometimes if there's certain circumstances, I might have 2.
Yeah.
But generally it's just the one rest day a week.
I mean, when I was a cyclist, we didn't even know about, this was back in the day, we didn't know about rest days, we didn't know about tapering. I mean, we're so much more educated on all of that now, and I think runners are probably a bit more than maybe cyclists. I don't know. Number 5, honor thy muscles and thy aches and pains, and do not push through an injury. Runners are not invincible. Now, once again, what's an injury and what's a niggle?
That's
because
right.
if you stop running every time you got a little owie, you will never run.
That's right. Yeah.
So, I mean, at the moment, my peroneal tendon on my right-hand side is a bit sore, which is why I kind of shuffled yesterday. And I have to admit, after I've eaten junk food the night before, I find it hard to run.
Yeah.
I feel like crap. But I'm running through that. It's a tendon. Tendons need blood flow, and so thus they don't respond well to rest. Not all injuries respond well to rest. Some injuries need some movement. So honor thy muscles and thy aches and pains, yes, but maybe if you're not sure, get an expert opinion. I've had the expert opinions on every single different thing that I had. I kind of know what I'm doing, and I've done a lot of study on it too. Not that I'm a physio, I'm not saying that, and I'm not telling you, the listener, to run through anything that's sore, but I know my body well enough to know what I can and cannot run through, and sometimes running through them is better. And I know Luke Nelson has said not all injuries repair best when you rest. Sometimes then you deload and then you reload again and make the injury worse. It's better to keep a little bit of load.
I agree with that. I mean, I've been carrying a foot injury for a while, and foot niggle for a while. I'd just, if I'd stopped every time something hurt, I'd have to give up running.
Yeah, basically.
So and we would constantly remark on this. Once something, when it finally starts to feel better, then the body goes, all right, now what's next?
Yeah, because my heel's been sore, and now my heel's fine. It's the peroneal tendon. So it's just moved up the leg. Some friends at Knox Road Runners, I think Grant was the one who calls it gypsy injuries, because, gypsies move around. They never stay in the one spot. Maybe that's really not a nice thing to say. Is that like not racist, but what is it?
Well, it's
culturalist.
Well, no, because historically that's what they did.
Yeah, I suppose. Well, I'm not saying it's a bad.
No.
Okay.
No. It's not being derogatory.
So careful today.
No. It's just that's what they did.
Yes, that's right. Yes, true. All right, who are we up to?
All right, number 6. Thou shalt not forget to hydrate.
Which I often do. I mean, I've got my drink bottle.
We've got our drink bottles.
This is my second bottle for the day, so I've drunk 1.5 liters.
Yep.
Which really, I always tell people they should drink 2 to 3 liters, but oh my God,
I'm one of those.
I don't think of anything worse.
I'm one of those people that has to manage their fluid intake. Like if I just blindly drank 2 to 3 liters, I would literally be on the toilet, or going to the toilet every 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It just goes straight through me. If I drink too much, I'll be up 3 times through the night.
Same.
It's frustrating, and it to me it just seems to defeat the purpose, because I end up dehydrated because I'm weeing so much.
Well, obviously not dehydrated, but obviously your body, and that's the thing, every human body is so different. Your body has a level that isn't fine for it.
Yeah.
If you drink too much, it just gets rid of it.
Yeah.
So it's pointless to drink more.
Yeah.
So this is a 750 ml bottle that you've got. How many of them have you drunk today?
Oh, this is my first. Yeah, this is my first, and I've had.
Look at that.
50
ml, I reckon.
2 sips of it since I sat down.
So you've drunk no water today?
No. I've drank a couple of coffees.
I was listening to a podcast today, and he was saying, yes, coffee is a diuretic, but if you look at it as the overall liquid of the day, it still does add to your liquids, especially because we drink black coffee.
Yeah.
It's just black.
And when I say I've had 2 coffees, I've had 2 coffees that big, because that's,
good Lord.
I have a thermos at work that I fill up twice in a day. That is probably almost that big.
Yeah.
So 1 coffee equals like 3 coffees.
And now we know why he goes to the toilet all night.
So
it's not the water.
When I pile drink water on top of that, it sends me over the edge.
God. Oh. Anyway, thou shalt not commit the sin of wearing cotton, especially on race day. Now, to be honest, I've never.
This is a guy.
Yeah, that's a guy.
This is not for women. This is a message for men.
Yeah.
I have made that mistake.
Really?
Yeah. And
what kind of a top was it? Like just a normal
I was just
top?
a t-shirt. Just
Was that when you first started running?
Yeah. I didn't have a lot of running t-shirts when I first started running, so I just run in regular t-shirts. And if they're not tight, if they're just loose and they jiggle up and down, and then you get any kind of moisture, whether it's sweat or whether it's rain.
Oh, even just rain.
Yeah. Oh, geez. You end up with those 2 red patches.
Very attractive.
Yeah, it's not very attractive. And then having a shower afterwards really hurts.
I bet, because that's very sensitive skin.
Yeah. So I think not wearing cotton is a guy thing.
Yeah.
And the pain is real. and the red patches are real. And and then once that happens, the next day it doesn't take much for them to open up again. And
so Band-Aids.
Yeah, that's right, Band-Aids. I have, even because I've got a couple of shirts that I like to wear in the rain that I know aren't going to rub. But even now, if I'm not wearing a pack, because a pack holds everything in place and you don't get any rashes or anything. So if I'm just running without a pack on, I still have to be careful what I wear when I'm running in the rain.
Yeah.
So even not just cotton, even a loose fitting rough t-shirt or rough running top will give you quite a fair bit of nipple chafe as well.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Thou shalt not ignore thy shoes. Get properly fitted and check for wear often.
Yeah, well,
I agree about checking for wear, but get properly fitted.
If I threw out a pair of shoes every time I wore them out, or got a bit of wear on them, I'd be buying a new pair of shoes every month. Because I do.
You're hard on your shoes.
I've always been hard on my shoes.
Mine last forever.
I used to, and I used to run in Asics, and maybe that was a problem with Asics, but I always wore out the upper, like the top part, before I wore out the sole. I did
notice that, yeah.
Now that I've been running in Hokas a lot, I seem to be wearing out the sole before I wear out the upper. But I do, I guess I run on the outside of my foot a little bit, so I do
it's really weird.
I do wear the sole off.
I've never seen wear on a shoe like on yours.
On the outside of my shoe a little bit, and even I think I had those shoes for a month, and I looked at the sole, and I was already starting to wear the color off because they have a bit of black on them or something. But so if I got rid of the shoes every time they started to wear,
I changed them.
Shoes as you.
I get new shoes when I just feel that they need like I feel, my feet are starting to hurt now. Generally there is a bit of wear, but because I don't wear my shoes a lot, as in I wear them a lot, but they don't show wear, it's hard for me to base it on that. So I base it on how they're feeling. And get properly fitted, like seriously.
If you know what size your foot is, you know what size your foot is.
Yeah, like, and I've had to, as I always say, like when I first started running, I was size 8. Well, now I'm size 9, 9.5.
Yeah.
So if I'd been fitted back then, which I probably was back then because there wasn't really online shopping like there is now. But now like seriously.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's a bit of overkill.
That's right. And especially in the day, nowadays with online shopping, you can't, you literally can't get fitted for everything because.
Yeah. I mean, if you have foot issues, then that's maybe a good idea.
Yeah.
But where even does, like nobody, I remember when I was a kid, every shoe shop you'd go and they'd measure your foot and across and this and that. And
you could go to.
They throw the shoe out, you go, try it on yourself.
You could go to Foot Pro and get some 16-year-old kid to fit your shoe. Who
has no clue.
No clue at all.
Yeah.
You can't, they don't really, I'm sure there are some around somewhere, but specialty shoe shops where
they're non-existent now, if you ask me. I mean, there are. I think like athlete's feet or something.
Athlete's foot, but even then, they're just, kids, shop assistant kids who, know what a good shoe looks like, but don't know how to fit one.
Well, I mean, have you been into one of them?
No, not recently.
Well, a few years ago I went to one and got fitted, but then that shoe ended up hurting my foot anyway.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know. Number 9.
Number 9, yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Thou shalt not get stuck in a rut, but will vary thy running by switching up elevation, distance, and pace.
I agree with that.
Well, really, quite frankly, that
That's proper
was one of the things that made me look for a coach. Was I was stuck in a rut. I wasn't enjoying running. I wasn't doing it consistently. I needed.
So what were you not varying? Were you not varying the elevation, distance, or pace?
I wasn't.
You weren't running.
Switching up the pace,
yes,
but I just wasn't running consistently. Maybe 2 times a week.
Yeah, but
but I wasn't switching up elevation.
Yeah.
Because my ankles hurt, so I was only running on
the flat.
Which was ridiculous because I was living at the top of Mount Dandenong, where I had all the trails and hills I could ask for, but I was, constantly driving down to the bottom of the mountain and running on the flat.
Yeah.
But I was truly stuck in a rut.
Yeah.
But now, you and I, we'll
do road runs, we do trail runs.
Literally a bit of everything.
Yeah, because I'm a big believer in this one. I like to run on the flat, but it's not good to run on sometimes we'll do rolling, sometimes we'll do big hills. It's good to train all of the gears, all of that you have, and just train everything. And it keeps variety, makes it more fun.
Most of our midweek running is on the flat because that's where we live. We run
relatively flat. Sometimes
we do
sort of rolling.
We do live in a naturally hilly area, so most of our runs will generally have at least 100 meters of elevation. Sometimes
I did find one yesterday. It was just 50 meters because he said he wanted flat, and I said I did this run 50 meters.
Yeah, that was good.
So it is possible, but we also then try to choose ones which we get around 100, 150 meters, and then like that 40-kilometer run. Well, that was only 460 or so meters of climbing. Yeah. But Saturday we'll do 25 odd with 600, 700, and then we'll do once I get back from Queensland, we've got to do more because Switzerland has 6,000 meters. So
right, and Adelaide, Ultra Adelaide has 3 or 4 or something like that. So we do, and it is in predominantly in the Adelaide Hills. So we do need to get back in amongst the hills, and
although it's so close to Ultra Adelaide. But anyway, we're going to get some more hills in, and it's good just even if you race on the flat. Like when I was training for Gold Coast Marathon, when I was training for a sub-3 marathon, I was still doing every second long run in the hills because it's great for leg strength and it's great for varying it up so you don't get so bored on the roads all the time. So even if you're training for a road marathon, you can still be running in the hills. It's really good for you. And the running on dirt really strengthens all your stabilizer muscles and keeps your ankles strong and all that sort of stuff, which will end up benefiting your road running anyway. So even if you're training for road races, still run in the hills. It's good for you.
Yeah, that's right.
Is it my turn?
It is.
Number 10. So we got through them all.
Yes, we did get through them all.
Thou shalt not covet thy neighbour's medals.
Well, I don't know what to make of this one. Like,
why would I covet someone else's medals?
I don't know what medals they're talking about. Like, if they're talking about the medals you get from doing a race, well, then you just go out and do the race.
And you get a participation medal. I think they're meaning like, someone who might have won races.
Yeah.
There's 2 different things. They trained harder than you. They trained smarter than you. They are genetically more gifted than you, which you can literally do nothing about. The other 2 you can do something about, but you can't blame them for that.
No.
If they train better and smarter than you and more consistently, well, that's not their fault. No. That's your fault.
That's right.
The genetic lottery one, well, that's just life sucks, and if life's not fair, get over it.
Yeah.
Like you got to learn that at some point. And you should be happy for people who have got medals, not... I kind of get it. You kind of get jealous and you think, well, I trained hard and I did all this. But really, did you? Like, if you really compared not just your training, but the day-to-day. Did they do all their stretching and mobility? Did they clean up their diet? Did they drink plenty of water?
Yeah.
Did they do the strength work? Did they go and get lots of sleep? Did they do, recovery stuff like saunas and flotation tanks? And did they tick all the boxes and you didn't? Or,
Yeah.
and on another scale, have they been running for 10 years and have all this training in the back? Like, you can't just feel, oh, that's not fair, I trained hard too. You've got to look at the whole picture, the big picture. And also, do they have a better mindset than me? Was I so nervous before the race, I got myself into this negative spiral? Well, you're never going to go well then, no matter how fit you are. You put two people equal fitness on the start line, one of them's in a negative spiral, the other one's positive. The positive person's going to win, even if they're exactly the same fitness.
Yeah.
So, you've got to look at the whole thing, not just this one training block and not just the running training. It's everything.
Yeah, that's right. If you are that sort of person and you do want to get to the pointy end of a race, it's a lifestyle. It's not an hour a day,
and that's it,
pushing yourself on the track or on the, wherever you happen to train. It's a lifestyle. You have to eat well, you have to train well, you have to rest
sleep
well.
You have to.
Yeah.
And this book I was reading about grit is you saying, you have to be gritty about recovery. It's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
And, maybe those people are just recovering better than you.
Yeah.
Look at your diet. Are you eating enough protein? I actually had a client ask me how much protein, as runners we should be having. And when I told him, he was like, oh my God, that's a lot. And it's like, yeah, athletes, runners need a lot of protein. So, look at your diet, look at all those other things, make you the best you can be.
Yeah.
And don't.
And maybe they'll covet your medals.
Yes, that's right. And you know what? At the end of the day, I don't want to. I mean, I have over the years compared myself a lot to other people, and I still do a little bit too, probably, I guess. But at the end of the day, they're not really thinking about you. And I don't want to go to my deathbed going, I did all these things because I just wanted to be better than someone else, or not as bad as, or not have people think badly of me. You want to do your life your way, what makes you feel good. And if running a bit slower makes you feel good, then who gives it?
That's right. Yeah.
I find it frustrating for me because I know what my body is used to be capable of. So that's what I find frustrating. But it's not because I'm comparing myself to other people. It's me.
Yeah.
And I know, So,
I've always been a mid-packer. I'd never really wanted to be anything special, so I'm just happy still being that mid-packer.
Yeah. Well, and there's a place for everyone in running, isn't there?
Yeah, not everyone can win a race. Apparently there's only one.
I know, surprisingly, isn't there?
So the rest of us have to be just happy with what we can do.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And you know what? We're all out there, once again, running the same kilometres, running the same trail, and we're all getting it done, so we should all be proud of ourselves.
That's right.
I need to remember all these things.
I'll be reading them back to you.
Needs to remember when you said, yes, I know.
Yeah.
All righty. So that is the supposed 10 commandments of being a runner. So what we're going to do next week is come up with the 10 commandments for ultra running. So you're going to come up with 5.
Yep. Now, when we say 10 commandments of ultra running, we might actually end up coming up with some similar ones.
Yes,
because we're not doing it together. We're going to do 5.
So maybe come up with 6, and I'll come up with 6 just in case.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
And because I bet you will come up with similar ones.
I'm sure we will, because we talk about ultra running all the time, so I'm sure we have the same ideas.
Yes.
So,
but that's okay. We can still have a robust discussion about the different points that we come up with. So, if you've got any sneaky ideas for me, people, just DM me. Because let's beat Ron. Not that I'm competitive.
Let's beat him.
Yeah. It's not a competition.
No, it's not a competition unless you win.
Then it's
a competition.
Definitely a competition. Yes. All righty. Well, we shall go make chicken stir fry.
Yum,
yum. Yep. And go and watch some more Treadstone, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, and then go to bed and get 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah, that's right. Get our sleep.
Well, that bloody alarm goes off again. Groundhog Day.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yep. Now the joys, isn't it? Oh, and we've booked our trip to Europe. Flights are booked.
Flights are booked. We're off.
Races are entered.
Yep.
I've entered the Switzerland race, and we've entered the Austrian race.
Yep.
And we're getting excited.
It's getting very exciting and starting to get real.
So in saying that, I've got a poles skills, or not just poles, hills training. I want to make it more hill training, like with poles, but also skills for hurrying up and down the hills, even with 8 poles, because they
talk about negotiating your way down a hill as well.
Negotiating.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
what do we argue about it while we're going down? Negotiating.
No, not going to negotiate.
Oh,
okay. I mean, negotiating around the
obstacles and
yes.
that sort of stuff. So we'll talk about all that sort of stuff with and without poles, because poles break.
Yep.
They get lightning protocols and you get them taken off. So I want people to be able to be good at both. So that's what we're going to be looking at. 90-minute session, only 10 participants. And the next one won't be until at least October, if not maybe later, because we don't get back until late September.
Yeah.
So, and I've got a camp to go to we've got a camp to go to in October for GSER. So, if you're wanting to go to one of these clinics, get on it.
Particularly because if you want to do it for GCR or something like that,
or Alpine Challenge,
you need to do it and then practice it. You're not gonna come away from the clinic an expert. You need to. We will give you the tips that you need.
Yeah.
But then you need to go away and practice them.
That's right, and you need at least a month to practice them. So don't wait until October. Get along to this one, like I said. Go to the website. Sunday, 16th of July, 2 p.m. till 3:30 in the Dandenong Ranges area. You'll get a download with all the details of where it is, the pin drop and all that sort of stuff. All right, so get on that, and hopefully we will see you there. It'll be great to meet you. Come along to that. And of course it will go ahead regardless of weather. It's Melbourne.
Yep.
If you don't like rain, don't live here.
No, that's right. There's no guarantees in Melbourne.
No, that's right. Mind you, it could also be 40 degrees, so who knows?
Yeah.
Doubt it, but you never know.
Yeah. I mean, so many times we've run into the mountains, run into the hills, and like last weekend we started the run at the bottom of the hill, and it was cloudy and horrible. You couldn't see very much, and then we got to the top and it was beautiful.
Blue skies.
Yeah.
And sunshine.
Yeah.
So anyway, go to the website, check it out and get your ticket, and we will see you in July. And otherwise, we'll be in your ears next week too. Have a great rest of your week.
And happy running. Happy
running. Enjoy the trails, enjoy the roads, enjoy the hills, enjoy the flats.
Enjoy the walk.
And then enjoy your sleep. Bye.
Bye.
Oops.